Today on
Doomed!
Trump caved. Donald Trump caved on his big beautiful tariffs, folks. Well, not completely. Some of those big beautiful tariffs remain, but the retaliatory, the reciprocal tariffs, the reciprocal tariffs that were in retaliation, those ones for some countries have been backtracked, paused for 90 days. And that's where we are as Donald Trump wreaks havoc. Oh, I forgot to put myself back up. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the stream. How y'all doing? How you doing today, everyone? Let's just take calls right away today. I started the what I'm gonna have to do is find a new night to do this show because Wednesdays is getting rough because I get home late after my son's soccer. So, and I'm sure a lot of people want to do calls because that's what happened last week. And I'm sure people are going to call in to talk about what's been going on with Trump and tariffs. So let's just start right there. Maybe I'll start streaming on Tuesday night. Yeah, Tuesday might have to work. I'm opening up the phone lines. 1 second. How are people already calling? I'm already hearing it. I'm not even signed in. That's the weirdest thing I've ever. That was bizarre. All right, let me take calls. Hold on. Let me just set it up. All right, let's do this. Hello. Well, that's not working. Riveting streaming, I know, folks. I'm sorry. This is a live stream only episode today because this isn't set up for the podcast. As in, this is not going live on the podcast, just me messing around with the phone system. All right, the phone line should now be open. 646-303-7337, and people are already calling in. Hey, 704, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, how are you? Oh, I'm sorry, what's your name? Not much. How about you? I could hear you. Can you hear me? Sounds good. What's your name again? Okay, Stone Cold Steve Austin. That sounds good to me. What's going on right now? Hello, Stone Cold. We got the real Stone Cold Steve Austin on. Hold on, I want to make sure. Hold on, I want to make sure people can hear you. See, people are saying they can't hear you. Hold on, I'm sorry. That sucks. Let's start from the beginning, okay? Nobody heard you. There we go.
My name is Chris from North Carolina.
Hey, Chris, North Carolina. Everyone missed your Stone Cold Steve Austin impression except for me.
Oh, how about this? How about I give it to him one more time?
Let's do it.
How about I just come over there and whoop your ass?
Oh, shit.
What? It wouldn't be much of a job.
Oh my God!
But,
this is really.
Man, how are you?
This is really funny now because no one heard you as Stone Cold Steve Austin earlier. I was talking just me to Stone Cold Steve Austin and they could hear it. And people in the chat, hold on, Zoe says, uh-oh, he's hearing the voices of his heroes. Matt is going insane.
Yeah. What if I got Austin to call you? Would you have to
Oh my
change your
God.
depends like old Donnie dumbass?
Ooh, if Stone Cold, I wonder what I don't know what Stone Cold's politics are. I feel
Stone
like
Cold's politics are not that they're not, they're I'd say left of center, maybe a bit libertarian.
yeah, I think
You know,
he's not an Undertaker type guy. He's not your
no, and he's
run of the
not a
mill
Mick
right
Foley
winger.
type guy. But
I don't think he's a
he's
Mick Foley either.
somewhere in the middle,
yeah.
leaning more towards the left. Like, why are we fucking with all these poor people?
Yeah, I think that's definitely him. Right.
Yeah.
I think you
Well,
got it
how are
right.
you and the kids?
Good. It's been, everything is, everything has been busy. So,
Yeah. Well, Bernie just had a town hall on CNN. Don't know if you caught it or not.
I didn't even know he was doing that until
Yeah.
literally seconds ago. Like literally before I went live, I saw that he was doing it online, and I was like, oh.
Bro, I mean, we've been following him so long, it's crazy. He's asked the questions. We don't know him, but we know how he's going to answer them. You'll find yourself being like, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's, I wish we could wake up tomorrow and he was president.
Yeah, but
it is what
we live
it
in
is.
this horrible reality, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is. Hell, I'd take Barack Obama back, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
But I mean, we're talking bullshit here. It ain't gonna happen,
Yeah, but
So
you know what?
all I got to say is just, what is it?
Sometimes just good to it's healthy for the mind to just live in fantasy land sometimes.
I'll tell you, with all of the bad presidents we've had, think about 1932 and Hoover. Think about who came in after that.
Right.
Think about that one-term senator that came in 2008 after Bush destroyed everything. I mean, what I'm thinking, does Tim Walz have it in him? I mean, because right now he looks like the guy,
I don't know. I like him. I don't
do
think
too.
I think the polling that I've seen is pretty weird because I mean it's way too early.
Well, right
honestly.
now it's not gonna, let him do some more stuff. You got to kind of Trojan horse that socialism on into the late stage capitalism.
Right.
Just kind of sprinkle it in on people where they don't really know what's going on.
Polls though have shown that if like
AOC.
Democrats had to pick today, they'd go with Kamala. They go Kamala Harris, if you can believe it.
What the hell? I mean, give me a fucking break, man. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, she just lost. I mean, these people right here would run into the arms of fucking Joe Manchin if he ran, dude. They are so petrified and terrified of what's going on. And with good reason, But, hey, I mean, we're going to fuck around and get somebody like Newsom in office, and that's not what we want. We need people to take a breath, listen to what these guys are proposing, vote on policy, good politics will follow.
Yeah, I think I think it's definitely way too early. That's for sure to me. I think we got to give people a chance to hear what's out there when the time comes. I think
Definitely.
I think we're definitely ahead of ourselves though. Like not like obviously we could have this conversation. I'm talking about like the general public in terms of even thinking about this. This is a conversation meant for
keep their Social Security.
Yeah, this is a conversation meant for YouTube live streamers.
Absolutely.
for like
Absolutely.
the public to be thinking about this now.
Well,
is
can
crazy.
you do me a favor? Do you have one good Michael story in you? You can tell maybe nobody's heard or maybe you won't remember.
It'll be hard for me to come up with one that no one's heard right now because I probably have to think about what I've said. But
Just lay one on us. How about that?
I have shared this one before, but it's been a while, so maybe a lot of people
It's
haven't
fine.
heard it.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's one of my favorite stories because it's very funny.
Good.
So Michael had a habit of when I was working at the Majority Port. Michael had a habit of sometimes I did this too. It wasn't just Michael, but Michael had this habit of sometimes just like walking like coming to the office right before the show started. Like maybe he would get there early, but then go for a walk or go get a breakfast or whatever, and then he'd like come back like really close to when the show would start. I did the same. I wouldn't go out. I would get there, you know, maybe like 20 minutes before the show started sometimes. No, that's late. Um but one time Michael uh the show was about to start. Michael wasn't there even though he had already been in the office. Like he showed up and left, and 5 minutes to go, he's not back. 4 minutes to go, not back. The show's about to start, and we're like looking at each other. Me and Sam, we're like, what's going on here? So Sam, to fuck with Michael, he locked the door, and Michael came back, and he couldn't open the door. So we thought it'd be really funny, because Michael obviously was knocking on the door and we weren't opening it for him, and he knew we were fucking with him, and so he got a little bit angry, and he would like do like this like Michael Brooks esque like this pouting thing that only he could do, and so we thought it'd be funny to through the peephole on the door to take a picture of him standing out there all upset, and we did that. And then I think I had the idea. I was like, we should make it the photo of him, the desktop, like the desktop background for his computer. So we took the photo of him out there, locked out of the studio, quickly ran to his computer, transferred the photo from our phone to the computer, made it his desktop background image. So the image is him through a peephole, standing outside, looking pissed off. And then we unlocked the door and let him in just let it play out. And so he came in. He was all upset at us. He sat down at the computer. He moved the mouse to the screensaver, and he it cracked up because it's a very funny thing to come back to your computer and there is the image of you through the peephole. It's a good funny story. I think it's funny.
I do. Hell yeah. Well, listen, you got Stone Cold Steve Austin and Michael Brooks in one conversation. Well, I don't think we can make it any better, man. I don't think we can make it any better. So, man, much respect, love to you. Hope you have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow on Leftist Mafia.
Yep, and Majority Port. I'll be on both. See you then.
Yeah, that is right. We'll catch you on there too.
Have a good night. Appreciate the call.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Once again, 646 303 7337. And if we need a little bit, I did want to talk a little bit about the tariffs because it's pretty ridiculous what happened. So last week, just as we were doing the stream, like hours before, Trump had declared his reciprocal tariffs, and of course, they made no sense. They basically looked at the trade deficit, how much other countries were buying from us compared to how much we were buying from them. And then we were basing tariffs on that, which makes no sense whatsoever, because you can't just like force countries who have no need for our goods, because some of them, for example, are relatively poor countries who don't buy things made in the USA. Not that they're like buying it from somewhere else. They just don't have need for these goods. And that's what these tariffs were. And the markets were in a frenzy, basically. I'm trying to think of the right word here. And so Oh, thanks, Chris, for the 5 gifted memberships on YouTube. Really appreciate it. Oh, look at people. Love to see people grabbing them up. And so where was I? Got distracted by your gifted memberships, Chris. So for the past few days, all people were talking about was the stock market was in a nosedive, basically. And then Trump today decided to remove some of these tariffs because, according to him, people were getting scared. He caved. He caved. The right Republicans are cheering him on, basically claiming that this was the art of the deal, and this was the point. But he got nothing out of it. There are no deals made. He got nothing whatsoever. He got nothing whatsoever out of this. Now, I don't know if what tomorrow and the next few days hold, but the markets spiked today on the news that these tariffs were being paused. And again, it's just a 90-day pause. And then we could all be here once again talking about Trump tariffing the penguins of the herd in Christmas Islands once again. I mean, there's still the 125% tariff on China, which I'm sure is once people realize. And then, of course, there's the 10% across the board tariffs that still exist. I think people are forgetting about those ones, which is weird. Oh, I missed the call. Trump only paused the reciprocal tariffs, the ones on top of the 10% tariffs. There's still the universal tariff. 438, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Matt Binder.
Hey, how are you? It's Osama.
I'm good.
I didn't hear you for a second. Yeah.
We're winning bigly. How many? 104% on China?
125% tariff on China. I mean, they think...
Oh, wait, increased that?
Yeah, they think... They really think, like, China is gonna cave, and they're just not going to. It's just very clear they're not going to. Why would they? They could hold out way longer than the U.S. can.
And China, I think, stopped, like, specific rare earth minerals that mostly China already produces, so they're gonna suffer on that end too.
Yeah.
Because they can't make the chips, or like there's a lot of other stuff that they can't do without those minerals, and they don't have any.
Well, I mean,
mines or.
I mean, just the idea that everyone's sort of goodies. Like Apple is never going to make the iPhone in the US. People need to understand this. Like, it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
I mean, no, but yeah, if you can't, if you don't have the mine and you don't have the, and no one, if you even do have the mine, you don't have someone drilling there, then you're not going to get the minerals. So, and if you're going to make an enemy out of everyone else, and it's not China, then the mines are in somewhere else.
But the fact of the matter is that if Apple moved manufacturing here, which again they're never going to do, the iPhone is going to cost a lot more. And then
Apple with the tariff, the iPhone is going to cost like 3,000. If Apple moves here, it's going to cost like 10,000 or something.
Right. And listen. I don't. I would love for Apple to I would love for any company, honestly, to bring good-paying jobs here to the United States, but these aren't going to.
And
be
the ones that do are office jobs, and they hate those jobs. So.
Exactly. Yes. Like the manufacturing jobs that Trump thinks exists, no longer do. It's not that they're not here. They don't exist anymore. Even the manufacturing jobs in the U.S., those aren't like
I mean,
the manufacturing jobs that Trump is imagining from the 50s, where like the husband says bye to his kids and wife and goes off to the factory and comes home to his three-bedroom house that he was able to buy. Those manufacturing jobs, while they don't pay the same, they pay more than they do overseas. They are like minimum wage jobs here in the U.S.
And beyond that, like, it just is, there isn't the base. Like, there's only a certain amount of things that you can actually manufacture, and tech isn't one of them. Like, it might be like you could start building ships. You could employ people in the military sector to build your military weaponry or whatever, but you can't do everything in the U.S.
Right.
It's just stupid. And if you don't have the minerals because you've made an enemy of the people who produce the minerals, then you're not going to make anything anyways. So you can, like, your army needs those things that China makes, and your tech companies need them, and your construction companies need them. Everyone needs them.
Yeah.
If it's not China, then it's some other country where they have to start mining for those things, because the U.S. doesn't have every mineral on earth imaginable. And you've made an enemy of everyone. So other countries aren't going to be happy about doing that too. They could just get this stuff from China anyways. Why
Right.
would they build a manufacturing base just for the U.S.?
And the really weird thing that that they're saying now on the like Trump's circle is saying is something like Trump goaded China into the retaliatory tariffs, which in turn was his plan all along, because now China stands alone as the bad actor. How is China?
They're literally just
How is China
coping.
the bad? How is China the bad actor here? Like the idea that they
Yeah, they
outed
keep
China
saying
as the
that
bad
as
actor.
if it's true.
What? What is that? How does that make any sense, though? You
And
did,
no-
you did the reciprocal. You started the reciprocal tariffs. How is that not you being the bad actor?
And the annoying thing is, the Democrats play up this game as well, not as much as Trump and the Republicans, but they're like, China's a bad actor too, which isn't true. Like, they were like, China subsidizes their electric cars, so you can subsidize yours. They're not breaking any trade laws, they're not doing anything, they're just paying money to the companies that they think would benefit them, and that's a very basic thing every country does.
You're
But
right,
because
right.
it's China, it has to be mysterious or whatever.
Yeah, it's ludicrous.
Yeah, if it's China or Iran, it has to be evil no matter what they do. And the Democrats and Republicans both buy in on that. And that's why Biden still had those stupid tariffs too. But of course, Trump and the Republicans are just, they're like, we'll just step on spikes and rakes and they're like, basically bleed ourselves to death. And then it will be a masterful gambit.
Yeah, it's
Because-
it's just so like, and it's just obviously so stupid to anyone who takes a second to even consider this stuff. But that's not what they do. The right loves praising Trump no matter what. He can do no wrong. It's amazing.
And the volatility creates stuff like, not only are your like stocks or whatever falling, but your yields are rising, which means
Well, I mean, how could anyone trust the United States? How could anyone trust and depend on the U.S.? Why would anyone overseas invest in the United States right now, knowing that at Trump's whims, he can just blow it all up on the spot whenever he wants?
And why would they invest long term, knowing that even if Trump's gone, another crazy person might take over? And will the next administration get rid of the crazy things that he did? Or will they just keep the same crazy things and then the next one will do more crazy things? Because you never know.
Right. It's,
Like, if there was any indication that the Republicans would serve justice and face consequences, then the countries might trust the U.S. But if the next admin does nothing and just lets these same people be, and these same people can get the job, get into office again, then it's just a cycle where it's better to just not focus on the U.S. at all.
Right. This is 100% only going to get worse. I mean, the idea that it's solved and like, oh look, the what was I saying? Oh, this is all solved now because Trump paused the tariffs too. They're not canceled. They're not done. He's gonna go back to it.
And he didn't pause it. He paused it at 10%. So it's like
Right.
it's like it's something that didn't exist now exists for no reason, and he's gonna do the same bullshit again. But like next time, what is he's gonna pause at 90 days and keep it at 20%? Does he think that's a good way to eventually?
Oh, you broke up
something
for
like
you broke up for a second
what's
or
the
something.
aim? What will, like, okay, like the U.S. dollar will get weaker, but the U.S. economy will get weaker, and U.S. people will lose jobs, and the world economy will get weaker, and a lot of pain will be caused all around the world, and then the world is just not gonna like trying to divest from the U.S. as much as possible and create different other structures that so they don't get hurt by the U.S. again when they do stupid stuff like this.
Yeah. It's this is
Like, if there was, like, of course, the neoliberal stuff and the human rights and all that, we've had critiques of those, but tariffs and trying to force something that doesn't exist is not going to bring it back. And this isn't for Trump. This is for the union leaders like Sean Fain. Is that's not how you get manufacturing back, and that's not going to help your people. It's going to hurt your people as well.
yeah.
The only like actual way would be to have international standards where people all over the world have a certain baseline. That way they can't use slave labor anywhere, and that would help everyone everywhere. But the unions, I guess, are very short-sighted and only concerned about like immediately what their members are saying right now, or immediately what they see. Like, it seems like they're not working for everyone. They're just concerned very short-sightedly with what they have themselves.
Right.
Like, I don't like. I know the majority report has been somewhat charitable to the unions, but I don't think you can be. Like, it's like Sean Fain was the one who was going to do a general strike, and now he's the one who's just kowtowing to Trump. And he's saying that these tariffs are good or whatever, and that's stupid.
Right. Yeah, I think I think they sort of I feel like they have to in some ways. I don't even really get it honestly when it comes to these specific tariffs, but the general sense is that anything that brings jobs back to the U.S. is a good thing. But these aren't gonna
It's not
gonna
gonna
do that. Yes, it's not. And again, even if it did somehow bring back some manufacturing jobs, these aren't going to be good jobs. Like, this isn't going to be.
Yeah.
We're talking about, like, there are manufacturing jobs in the U.S. They exist. They're not the same type of manufacturing jobs that people think of 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 70 years ago. These are jobs. Honestly, a lot of these jobs have terrible safety conditions and put their workers at risk.
Yeah, and they're like there's also the myth that the working class is like some sort of coal miner or whatever, work with their hands when manufacturing. But when most of the working class is like in the service industry, but they treat those people like they're elite even though they're struggling. The actual working class is like baristas and servers and retailers, people who work at retail and have office jobs and stuff like that, and they're all collectively it, but they treat them as a separate thing for some reason because aesthetics wise they don't match the old whatever rugged coal miner or whatever, and those aren't the jobs that exist anymore.
Right. Well, I mean, the coal miners
yeah.
just today there was news that the Trump administration is rolling back safety measures on coal miners to help avoid them from getting black lung. I mean, that's how much they think of their lovely coal miners, that they love to say everyone should be more like the coal miners. Like these poor folks who do these grueling, hard-working jobs. The least they can have is their government watching out for their health, and the Trump administration is turning their back on them, which they do all the time.
So I guess their ideal is like, I've seen this in Pakistan, of course, because there are no standards there. Is they work in like plain clothing, no safety equipment, and it's like not just the fathers or whatever, the kids working there too. They're not getting their education, and they're paid like a paltry sum that doesn't give them anything, and they just lived in abject poverty, and they're beholden to the the owners of the coal mines. Maybe they'll bring company towns back or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Next, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Oh my God. Maybe they'll bring back all these jobs that no longer exist. Maybe we'll have a soda jerk again. Maybe there'll be soda jerks again.
Maybe kids will have to polish people's shoes in the corner because their family can't afford food anymore.
Maybe we could bring back milkmen. That's a job that no longer exists. Why don't we bring back milkmen? I think it's absurd. It's absurd.
And they don't want people to study, so maybe they'll bring scribes back. So people would need someone educated to write for them, and they'll need scribes.
Right.
Maybe we'll go back to that era.
Well, I was seeing today that in Florida they're working out a law to allow children as young as 14 to work overnight shifts.
Yeah, and not have lunch. So lunch breaks, I think, was another thing.
Just unbelievable, really. We are going backwards.
And the annoying thing is because the U.S. is the U.S. is the hegemon and everything's tied to it. Everyone's being dragged down with it. And that was the thing that I was saying, is that no country should capitulate to the U.S. and do what China and Canada and Mexico are doing, because you can't reason with the unreasonable, and you're going to end up harming everyone else if you try to like ingratiate yourself to the Trump admin.
Yeah.
It's better to just build connections with each other.
Yeah.
And the weirdest thing is the U.S. was basically just winning, whatever you call winning, I guess, as being the world hegemon, because China was naturally going to decline. The population's in trouble. They had this huge housing issue domestically already. They didn't have a way out of that. They didn't have the relations they wanted with other countries. Russia's a pariah anyways. Like, there's no competition. And the U.S. just creates... It's kind of like if someone was just bored and they had real problems, instead of solving them, they just stab themselves in the thigh or whatever.
That's exactly what's happening.
Just to feel something.
Right. This is exactly what's happening. That's a great analogy there. I mean, I honestly, sometimes I don't even have anything to say. I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm honestly speechless at times. Like, this whole thing has been so stupid, and yet half the country, I'm hoping it's less than half now, but half the country, the voting public, I should say, not half the country, thinks he's playing 5D chess. It's insanity.
The 5D chess is everyone gets 10% tariffs. The stock market jumps up and down in one day, where they lose trillions in the same day, gain trillions in the same day, then lose them again in the same day. The yields rise, which means interest rates are going to spike. Supply chains are disrupted. Companies are confused, so Nintendo or whatever else you want, like gaming, food, whatever, are confused whether we bring stuff in or not. Apple's bringing in iPhones on planes just to be ready. And then that's the brilliant master move in the end, where everyone's hurt more for some reason.
I saw that.
The US didn't benefit. China, yeah, it's stupid.
Apple flying in the iPhone on planes to avoid the tariffs. Insanity that Trump has. He's not thought this through. He has not a single thought about any of this whatsoever.
Oh, another stupid thing they're doing apparently. Soon, I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know about the date, but they're going to start charging ships that are made in China or have even one tanker from China. They're going to start charging them like a lot of dollars when they port in the US. So those ships are going to avoid they're going to avoid the smaller ports and go to the bigger ports, and so they can have more volume, I guess. And that's going to cause like a backlog there, like we had in COVID, and it's going to make everything more expensive as well. It was like, because China makes most of the ships. That's one thing that the US can actually do, is make ships in the country, but they don't want to invest money in stuff they can actually do.
Yeah.
They just want to. I guess they just want to. As long as everyone's hurting, they're happy. I don't know.
Well,
Like
no,
that's,
I think
that
what
was
it
the
really,
Republican.
what it definitely like part of it isn't that, like, not part of it isn't that. What am I saying? It's not that. Part of it is that he feels like he needs to like do something, I think, to own, like, he doesn't want to just, like you said, like earlier, like, oh, in some senses the US should have to sit back and let China, for example, unravel or whatever. He wants credit for doing stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is, and also he said he would do all this stuff, so he feels like he has to deliver.
Yeah, but it's like the stupidest version of that. It's like you want to do something, so you jump off a cliff with no safety, like no safety equipment. I don't know.
Hey,
But you drag everyone else with you. Like,
hey,
you-
you're saying this while laughing as if it's insane for anyone to think that way, or like you're like mocking the idea, but that is exactly like what's going on. Like, it's
yeah,
so
but that's what I
ridiculous.
mean. That's like, as long as everyone's hurt,
Right.
at least we've done something. Like if you do nothing and everyone's relatively fine, or like maybe a bit better, maybe a bit worse off, then that's bad. If everyone is doing better, then of course that can happen, because the rich people and the wealthy people won't get more power that way. So everyone has to hurt. You
Yeah.
can't do good stuff. You can't just sit back and enjoy the wealth and power you have. You have to do the worst stuff,
No, I mean that's.
because that's doing stuff.
Yeah, no, that is exactly what we're seeing, honestly.
Well,
Osama, you want to say
yeah,
anything else? I was gonna say, let's go to the next call, but was that it?
of course, yeah. Yeah, that's. I can't think of anything else right now. But the still trying to schedule the thing as a reminder. If you wanna talk to the leftist mafia crew, because stuff is still happening in Pakistan. That
Let me
doesn't stop happening.
let me get you. Let's do an episode on this show, if anything. Do you know what I mean? Let's do a new episode on this show, if anything.
Yeah,
Okay, sound
of
good?
course, yeah. We could do that. Yeah, we could arrange that and then see what happens afterwards. Okay, have a good one.
night. Peace. All right, let's go back to the phones. 724. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You know what I mean? Let's do a new episode on this show, if anything.
Oh, they hung up. 646 303 7337. 646 303 7337. Here they are. 724. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi. This is Hannah. I'm from Pittsburgh.
Hey, Hannah from Pittsburgh. What's up? What would you like to talk about?
Oh, I was wondering, I've only heard like one person talk about this so far. I think it was that permaculture lady. But I'm just like kind of wondering where the celebrities are, and if we need to like push to have them involved more, if you think it would be helpful or not.
Well, on what? What specifically? You talking about in general, or?
Just like, they're not really talking out at all. Like, I follow a couple celebrities from like various areas, and they don't really seem to be posting anything at all. And during
Right.
other movements, I kind of feel like they did the bare minimum.
Yeah, some, I guess. I mean, I personally don't think they let me add this to them. I do think it's good when a celebrity speaks out, because unfortunately we do live in a culture where people put a lot of stock in what celebrities say. I personally don't care, but I understand that a lot of people do. Um, with that said, celebrities tend to speak out on social justice related issues. They don't really care, as unfortunate as it is, but also if you think about it, there still is a class divide here between people, working people and celebrities. They're not going to necessarily be on the streets when it comes to Social Security and Medicare and cuts to the social safety net and other services. It's unfortunate, but that seems to be the case. Um, Overall, uh, I, what did you think? Like, what was your feelings about it?
Well, it feels like, oh, are the sound okay on your end?
Yeah, it sounds perfect.
Okay, cool. Well, it just feels like dictatorship is even bad for the oligarchy, and they have much more power than us. So it seems like we would need their help to get back to late stage capitalism.
Yeah, but
Also, I've been hearing this.
they're not hurting though. At least not yet.
Well, they kind of lost freedom. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is a myth. I kind of heard that, like, Putin does kill oligarchs from time to time. Like, they might not be hurting, but they have less freedom, you know?
But I mean, they don't feel it. They don't feel nothing right now. What is a like a famous actor or musician? What are they dealing with right now? Um, I
That's
mean,
true. I mean, some people are kind of
they don't even have like
intellectual, though.
they don't even have like a product business where like they're hurting from like losing their outsource providers or anything like that. Like they, I get what you're saying. I mean, a lot of people have been silent to this time around with Trump. It's a whole the
Hmm.
resistance against Trump is very different this time around. Um, Somehow, in some way, people became complacent with this is just what it is now. This is just what happened. Trump won the popular votes. That must mean that this is what the people want. So I can't speak out against it. It was a lot easier for them to speak out against it when they had these ideas that he lost the popular vote to Hillary. He isn't majorly popular in the country. He possibly, with help from Russia, stole the election, which I do not believe. But that's what they were able to put out there. This time around, he won the popular vote. He, while close, he still outright beat Kamala Harris. So people feel like, oh, this must be what the country wants.
Yeah. Oh, just like a random side note about like some celebrity involvement last time around. I was reading Kelly Bishop's book. She's like Emily on Gilmore Girls, the grandma.
I have no
And in her
idea. I
book,
don't even know what a Gilmore Girl
oh,
is.
well, that's
No, I know it's a
obscene.
show. I know it's a show, but I don't know. Wait,
Okay.
which one is Gilmore Girls? Is it the one?
Uh,
Oh,
it's the
okay,
one
I
with
know this
like
one. I know this
Lorelai and
one.
Luke and the coffee and the mother and daughter.
I know this one.
But yeah, so Emily Bishop in her book, she writes about going to that, I think it's like the New York March where everybody was wearing the pink hats last time when Trump was elected.
Right.
Um, she writes about flying to that, and I believe even the showrunner, who people really love, went with her. I think so. She did like Marvelous Miss Maisel, Gilmore Girls, and she has a whole section in her book, which frankly was really good. Like, she originated a role on Broadway, but she like also chose to write about this, one march she went to, right? Um, so
Right.
yeah, I mean, and it just doesn't really seem like any of the celebrities are out this time around, even like, the quote unquote intellectual ones that you think might, be doing something, right?
Right. I mean, really, they seemingly only speak out when it comes to social justice issues, and even then, I mean, they also I think the younger celebrities, some of the younger celebrities have been pretty good at this. But their issue, and rightly so, has been uh what's happening in Gaza and speaking out for the Palestinian people. And there's not really like a party they can side with there. So it's not really straight up anti-Trump protest. It's general support for the Palestinian people against the genocide in Gaza.
Mhm.
So I don't think I think that's maybe why it comes that their activism comes across a bit different. But like I think last time around there was this more um you know anti-Trump backlash, and now it's not the same. There are people who obviously very much dislike him, and his approval ratings are tanking. But I mean, it's not the same as it was the first time around. Unfortunately, a lot of people are fine with him after COVID fried their brains. Like COVID really changed a lot of things for people. I saw a let me see if I can find it. I saw a poll today about Trump's approval among different age groups. Here it is. I found it. That was quicker than I thought. Let me pull it up on the screen. Views of Donald Trump by age over the past 6 months. And the question is, do you have a favorable or unfavorable opinion of the following people? Donald Trump, percentage with a very or somewhat favorable opinion, minus the percentage with a very or somewhat unfavorable opinion. And it's a line graph here. And it basically goes up if it's favorable and down if it's unfavorable. And on the x-axis is basically the time, like the timeline. It starts with October 24th, right before the election, and it takes you to this month, April 2025. And these 4 graphs are broken down into age groups. 18 to 29-year-olds, they all of a sudden, just around the election time, had a super favorable opinion of Trump. And that stayed steady up until about earlier this year, when it would go up and down. And now it's all the way in the tank, like minus 25%. He's 18 to 29-year-olds unfavorable to Trump. There's another one that shows 30 to 44-year-olds, basically like millennials. And they have been fairly negative on Trump the entire time. There's a small, slightly favorable, like, peak right around the election, but it's pretty much in unfavorable territory and trending down the entire time. Even the boomers, 65 and older, they had
There's so many old people at protests.
yes,
It's
I know.
crazy.
They had a small favorable opinion of Trump right around the election, and then immediately, and it's sustained throughout, more negative than positive, more disapproval, more unfavorable opinion than favorable. And now I'm going to go to Gen X, basically people 45 to 64-year-olds. They were negative on Trump in October 2024. And then right around the election, they're favorable with Trump. And to this day, in April 2025, 45 to 64-year-olds have a favorable opinion of Donald Trump. They are the anomaly in this 4 group age breakdown. Everyone else has a 18 to 29, 30 to 44, 65 and older. All currently have a sustained unfavorable opinion of Trump. Gen X, 45 to 64, have a favorable view of Trump right now. And that wasn't the case until around like COVID, where Gen X like lost their mind. Like I like that was the, like a turning point for like the new politics, like the new like arranged order of like who's a conservative and who is a liberal.
Yeah. That's really sad.
I mean, people like to point out that, like, Gen X was like the lead generation, a lot of lead. And I don't think you can deny that as a factor, honestly. There's also a very good theory that the reason crime has um, fallen so much in this country from like the 70s and 80s to today is because of all the lead that was around then. Right when Gen X was like in their growing years and become and like that stuff would have affected them the most. I mean, I don't think that's the only part of it, but like they are alone right now in this again, there are obviously Gen Zers and millennials and
Mhm.
boomers who like Trump and are conservative. There's no doubt about it. But there has been a quite obvious changeover. Like boomers used to be the most conservative group, and that's not the case anymore.
Mhm.
Like, how is it
Yeah.
like
I
what
mean,
how has that happened that like the oldest cohort is no longer the most conservative when that's been the case for as long as I can remember? The younger you are, the more
well,
liberal you are, and the older you get, the more conservative you are. And like that's not obviously everybody, but in general, that's how the voting public has been, unfortunately. But not anymore.
my dad used to be a conservative and he isn't anymore because, his daughters decided to yell at him, basically, and be like, stop being homophobic. It's weird.
Yeah.
But it took a long time. So, I don't know, man. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Just from an American perspective, like look at what we are, and I think celebrities kind of do matter in America, and I think it'd be easier to peer pressure them and have campaigns to get them to flip and help with their resources than pressuring Trump directly. I don't know, because I
Right.
know,
I
like,
mean, listen, like
you know,
who's a really I'm trying to think like who's like a current celebrity who's really good at speaking out. They're the left of center at the very least. Like I'm thinking of like for example, like, here's a great
John
example.
Green. I don't know.
Pedro Pascal, the
Oh
Mandalorian.
yeah, yeah.
He's fantastic on. He seems like a good guy. He speaks out on trans rights, LGBTQ rights. But again, look at what we're talking about. These are social justice issues, which are obviously very important. But I don't see him speaking out against, policy issues because it's just not something that I'm assuming affects him very much, unfortunately.
That's true. And then I had one other like shallow American topic, but we don't have to talk about it that much. But I do think like merch matters and that like basically nobody really talks about merch ever. Kamala had dog shit merch. Her cat lady t-shirt was unforgivably bad and it came out very late. And she had that hit with the camo hat, but I kind of think Americans are what they buy, and like the lack of merch on the left because they kind of have standards for their workers is maybe a little harmful. Like I don't think Zoran is doing merch at all
I don't think
in
I
his
don't
race,
think
which kind of scares me.
as someone who loves merch, as someone who wears band shirts and all that all the time. That's my entire wardrobe. Band shirts and wrestling shirts. I love merch. But I don't think that that has a real role to play. I agree that I wish there was some better merch, but
Yeah.
I don't think that has any real role to play.
What about the MAGA hat? You think that was helpful? And Trump having a whole infrastructure of stores? Like, you think if those stores went away, it would maybe
I think
lessen the cult vibes?
I think the hats are like the end point. Like these people wear the hats
Mm,
as a social like in thing. Like oh, like, this is what we wear to show our support for Trump. But their
hmm
support for Trump isn't tied to the hats. Do you know what I mean?
Uh, yeah, I think having items though in America and our little
Oh,
treat economy
that's
help
so
develop and build your personality. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
if you want to talk
So it's
culturally,
like
I think
if you
okay. I think merchandise could help make you seem cool depending on what that merchandise is and who like the MAGA hats are cool to the MAGA people. obviously. So it certainly maybe strengthened their bond with Trump, but I don't think they became Trump supporters because of the MAGA hats. Just like maybe Kamala, if she had some sort of good merch, her supporters would have rallied around that as like a cultural thing. But
Mhm.
they weren't Kamala supporters because of the merch.
No, I think it could have built stronger. I think some like wine moms who thought the cat lady thing
Like
was
branding
funny.
wise.
If the cat
I get what
lady
you're
shirt
saying.
was good enough, they could have bought it, and
Like
it could have
branding
like
wise,
kind of
yes.
solidified their
Branding
support.
wise, yes. I just don't think it has any correlation with how people vote. But branding wise, which, obviously get your name out there, um,
Mhm.
could have helped, yes. Um, Bernie had a great
Bernie's
merch
merch is
and
amazing.
and
If you
bra-
go on
but
his site right
and
now, it's
but
great.
but if you look, he lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it helps branding wise that people. So it's certainly like a positive, but it's not the end all be all. Um, I will say this though. It is very important for everyone listening right now to buy my merch when I unveil it because it's super important as we're discussing right now. You need to all be wearing your
Mhm.
your
It
Matt
is.
Binder t-shirts.
Yeah, it better be good, Matt. It's
I
very important.
I
At
know.
least that's what I think.
Well,
Well, thanks for
I
taking my
got a
call.
background in like punk bands and stuff, so the merch will be good when it does come out.
Okay. Thanks for taking my call. Bye.
Oh, thank you for calling. It was a great call. I mean, I think it's a interesting thing to look at from a branding perspective. Absolutely. Those camo hats of hers were everywhere, though, weren't they? Not everywhere, but they were a major like focal point of the campaign. People were wearing those, but again, these people were already supporters. Oh, it's already been an hour. I'll take maybe one more call. 646. There we go. People already calling in. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hey, what's up? This is Tim calling from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Hey,
Use the vacuum.
Sam from Grand Rapids, Michigan. You're vacuuming right now?
I'm a janitor doing second shift work.
Oh, you've called him before, haven't you?
Maybe a long time ago. I go by T-Types channel member. I've definitely.
I think someone, maybe it wasn't you or maybe it was you, but I very specifically remember someone calling him before who was who said they were listening to the show while doing janitorial work at their job, and I was just like, "That's awesome! I like that." So what's up? What's it to talk about?
Well, go back to the tariffs. This is just kind of a meme at first thing, but I saw somebody mention that if you could prove intent, Trump telling all of his supporters to hold on to their stocks or buy the dip and then manipulating the markets today could be considered like one of the biggest insider trading scandals of all time.
Right. I saw that. I don't like obviously nothing's gonna come out of it. People need to understand that. Nothing
Yeah,
is going
yeah,
to come
yeah,
out
yeah.
of it.
It's a meme. I'm not.
Yeah. Trump gets away with everything. He will always get away with everything. He's not going to jail. He's not getting in trouble. He's getting away with everything. Um, and we will be dealing with the ramifications of that for the rest of our lifetime, probably.
Yeah, great.
um, but yeah, I mean, I saw that. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he's all about the pump and dump. Um, it's
Yeah, definitely.
it's it is depressing to see how this is how easy it is for the very wealthy and powerful to get. Like it's always been the case, obviously. The more money you got, the more power you got, the more money you will make and more power you will have. Like the rich get richer. That's always been like the phrase, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
it's never been easier for them to do it. It's never been easier and for them to just be able to just do it right in your face too. It's it's I don't know what to say. We are, but and the thing is that it used to be like uncouth. Like people would be disturbed by this. But and I brought this up so many times before, and I really do think I should probably do more work in this area, especially on scam economy where it makes so much sense. Somehow in the past like 10, 20 years, like obviously people always were obsessed with money. Money was
Yeah.
always a major thing. But somewhere in the past 10, 20 years, everything became about how you can make money off of it. There are no longer hobbies. There are no longer people doing something because they love doing it. There's no such thing anymore of like selling out. Everyone wants to sell out. Everyone is
Yeah, you're
happy
a
to sell
chump if
out.
you don't sell out now.
And that's I mean the right thing to call it because at least like 10, 20, 30 years ago, you would even call it selling out. Like someone go, "Yeah, I sold out." It was time. It's not even considered selling out now. Everyone is promoting something. Everyone is selling themselves somehow. Everyone's got something to promote. Everyone has a hustle and they call it hustling. Like even in like I remember the thing that like got me into tech. Like I'm a tech reporter. The thing that got me into tech 20 some odd years ago was like we were moving into this age of like the social media era was just starting, and I thought it was fascinating how these platforms were connecting people. Obviously there was a big mistake. They should have never done anything because the internet was a mistake, but I thought it was cool. And like back then the people who were making these things, they were making a lot of money, sure, but like at the same time, it seemed like their main idea that they started it off wasn't to make a lot of money because no one knew you could make a lot of money off of this yet. Was to like
Yeah,
actually create something cool, like create something that had meaning and did something worthwhile and was beneficial. And like a lot of those early startups, I felt like were doing that. And obviously they
yeah,
all
that was.
made
I'm 40, and that was definitely my experience on like the 1.0 bit version of the internet, as it's called.
like even
I feel like a lot of
like
people. Sorry.
right, no, but even exactly like the message boards and forums, even like MySpace, like no one knew they could sell for
Yeah.
500 million fucking dollars a social media platform. It was just all about connecting. Like I was able to go home after school and instead of not seeing and hanging out, like not interacting with my friends because we had to do homework and then it was too late, we'd be able to just fucking hang out on the internet on AIM, Instant Messenger, or
Mm-hmm.
MySpace or whatever. But then at some point, that shit like the big thing of the past couple of years with like tech startups is like the people not sharing like, oh, like look at this cool thing that I did. It's people saying, here is my monthly recurring revenue. That is the big selling point now. Check out
Yeah.
how much money I am making each month. That is the goal. It's not to create something interesting or different or that changes the world like they all wanted to do 20 years ago. It's now look how much fucking money I can make and how quickly I can fucking make it.
Definitely, and it makes all of that all of that messaging around early tech startups. Maybe some of it was real, but it just makes it all seem like virtue signaling so that they could get a bunch of investment and get a lane cleared for them. Because like I think people forget that Facebook wasn't even close to monetizable until I want to say like 14 years ago when they started messing with the algorithm so they could uh, put ads in it. Like it was,
Oh, it wasn't
yeah,
even. There was no. It was like just for college kids at first. You couldn't even join Facebook unless you had a .edu address.
yeah, yeah. No, that's I was. I'm one of those old people that got in there at that time.
Yeah, I
Uh,
was. Yeah, I I was more of a MySpace person at first because I was in high school when MySpace was getting big. I was on Friendster too. I was around for when Friendster
oh
first
yeah,
came out. Um, but like these were like this it wasn't about like, oh, I wonder how much money they're making or how many ads they're selling or how can I or like people thinking about how they can like best get their like run their ads and get the most bang out of their buck to sell as much product on MySpace. Like, yeah, MySpace ran ads, but like traditionally how you would sell ads, like a movie studio would call you, say our movie's coming out, we have an ad run we'd like to run. This is how much it costs. Okay, we're renting out that ad time space. Like that's how they would do it then. Um, like it wasn't the idea, and then these companies realized they could sell for a lot of money, they can make a lot of money, and then the goal wasn't to create something new and cool. The goal was to just fucking get rich as quickly as possible.
Yeah. You know, I would love to see if somebody could kind of narrow it down, if there's one major factor that caused that cultural change, like, because, you know, it happened to rap too. Like, rap became less socially conscious, and, you know, the bling era started in the aughts. Part of me wonders if it isn't just like the increased economic pain of the average working class person or middle class people, if it just desperation has turned people into joining the
Right.
blob of hustle culture.
Right. No, that's a good point. Like you brought up music, and I've been saying this too myself. Like, and listen, I understand. There's always going to be various genres to fit. Like, I'm not expecting like fucking like trance or dance music or whatever to have some fucking message. It's for people to party to. You know, those were that there are genres for different have different, you know, but at some point we lost like music with a message, whether it was rap or punk or whatever. And like it's like just not even a thing anymore. Like
I mean, there's a
sure,
lot of it out there if you
it's
go
yeah,
on to Bandcamp,
but
but it's all small artists
yeah,
mostly.
but like yeah, exactly. Like there were, of course, there were different bands who got big for different occasions, but you still had like music that had a message, that had a political message or a social message that was still being played among the mainstream. And I can't think of a single artist who is, it's all about fucking partying or being successful or fucking relationships. Nothing has any meaning beyond like all that superficial stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate to be conspiratorial, but with the Clear Channel, you know, the corporate takeover of radio since the 80s, there's a book called Right of the Dial that talks about. I once heard an interview with the author years ago, talking about how they had tracked uh, Clear Channel buying up a bunch of radio stations and basically pushing Rush Limbaugh and other right wing demagogues in markets where they were losing money because of it, and like just taking progressive voices or left voices off the air when they were successful, because there was a clear ideology behind the ownership of
Right.
the corporate.
Well, they
And so I,
definitely,
you know, I wonder if it isn't a conscious like choice of just what to play and what not to play. I
I
hate to be
think,
that paranoid,
no, I
but
think that's
yeah.
definitely part of it. Also, is just the truth that like people who are conservative fucking live this shit. A lot of them live this shit. Like a lot of them fucking live their ideology 24/7. They are obsessed. They have nothing else. Like if you're a conservative, it literally means you need to fucking be miserable all the fucking time and hate a whole swath of this country all the fucking time. And you want to fucking burrow your head in that shit, because if you live in reality, it doesn't reflect how you want the world to be. Whereas a
Yep.
lot of people with liberal leanings, they don't they don't fucking live politics all the time. They just don't. Like it's just the truth. And so a lot less of them consume political media, a lot less of them consume progressive media. I mean, this is just the truth. You can just look at the ratings when it comes to Fox News compared to any other station, the conservative radio host compared to every other station. And like, sure, part of it is definitely what you said. Like, obviously, corporations will push right wing media because that is the media that is more corporatist or corporatist at all and reflects their economic interests. But at the same time, if progressive media was so fucking popular, they also wouldn't ignore the money there either. And it's unfortunately just not.
Yeah. Oh, America.
Like it was during that second term of the Bush administration, it was profitable to be anti-Bush, and so companies were signing bands who were, I mean, Green Day's biggest hit was all over the place, American Idiot. It was if the money is there, corporations will go after any will be happy to oblige to whatever ideology it is that's making them rich.
I think you're 100% right. I just want to add the caveat. This is sort of a newer phenomenon I've seen, like with that movie, The Sound of Freedom. You remember that, like?
Yeah, the one where they were buying up tickets.
Yes, that, because I have a friend who.
They're doing it again, by the way. There's some Pixar looking. It's not Pixar, obviously. It's that same company, Angel Movies or whatever. That right-wing Christian movie studio. They got some like a 3D cartoon, like a Pixar type movie about Jesus coming out for Easter. And they got some big names on it too. Like big name actors have fucking signed on to do.
Is that the King of Kings movie?
King of Kings, yes.
I saw the trailer for that in the theater. I just took my kid to the Minecraft movie.
You saw a trailer for it in the theater? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. No, and there's a moment of the father character in the movie verbally abusing his son. And it's just treated as normal. Like yelling at him for having the wrong kind of imagination.
Jesus?
Imaginary beliefs.
Because isn't this a movie about Jesus?
No, well, it is, but it's like, from the trailer, it's got the vibe of like the story within the story, where there's like a modern day father telling a story to his son.
Let me read to people the cast of this movie. This is the same people who did that fucking Sound of Freedom movie.
Yeah.
Ready? This is the cast of the King of Kings playing Jesus Christ, the voice of Jesus Christ. Oscar Isaac.
Oh my God.
The voice of Pontius Pilate. Pierce Brosnan. Playing some high priest in the movie. Ben Kingsley. Here you go. Ready for this one? The role of Peter. Forrest Whitaker.
Whoa.
Uma Thurman is voicing a character in this movie. And the voice of King Herod. Mark Hamill. Mr. Resistance actor himself, Mark Hamill, couldn't say no to this conservative right-wing movie studio.
Ugh. See, this actually dovetails with something I was going to say about Sound of Freedom. Like, one of my best friends is like the son of a millionaire. And so, like, I saved him from the Jordan Peterson pipeline years ago. So he's basically a millionaire who's a progressive. So, but anyways, when that Sound of Freedom thing happened, I remember him just looking at the box office receipts and saying, "What's this movie? It's making more than Indiana Jones." And I had to be like, no, you don't understand. There's like a giant money laundering operation to try to pretend it's more popular than it is. Like, but that sounds insane if you don't understand what the reactionaries and their billionaire funders are trying to do to the country. So I bet all these actors just aren't paying close enough attention, and their agents probably just want to.
How do you? I could understand if this was some like small movie studio, but at this point, this studio got a lot of attention. You can't claim ignorance on this one. Like if this was some like new conservative movie studio and you had no idea, I would get it. But this is a huge news story. These guys, when they were doing their thing with the Sound of Freedom.
That's a good point. I guess I could totally be wrong. Basically I have a friend who I would say suffers from affluenza, in the sense that he doesn't have to care about most things that are happening, so he just doesn't pay attention. And I know letting these famous actors off the hook is, we shouldn't. But sometimes I wonder if they're just like, they don't, like, they're just taking the biggest check and not investigating who's paying it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how this movie does.
Yeah, just
I mean,
trigger
they do.
warning.
They're
The
doing it.
father was verbal. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
They're already doing what they did. If you, I've been getting bombarded with Facebook ads for this movie. I don't know why. I don't know what I went to that triggered it. Maybe I was looking at like some sort of political conservative media Facebook page to like see what they were talking about that day, and because I hit that page and there maybe the ads on Facebook are targeting people who go to those pages, and that's why I'm seeing it. Um, but I've been seeing so many ads for this movie, and every other ad is saying, "Don't forget, you get free kids tickets to see this movie with the purchase of a ticket."
Yeah,
Like
as
you,
though that's a normal thing. Like that's
yeah, they do this for all their movies. They give away their
maybe the
tickets.
metadata just tagged you as a parent, and that's why you're getting
That could be it too.
advertised to.
That could be it too. And listen, I have no problem with my kids consuming religious stories and media, but through this company, I have a problem.
Yeah.
I think they are. That Sound of Freedom movie was inexcusable.
Yeah, just wild, wild times.
Great
could
call,
I,
though. Oh, yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah.
Could I change the topic real quick before I go?
Yeah, sure.
So you're talking about tariffs earlier, and I'm just taking in news from you and a bunch of other people, looking at the stock market subreddit and stuff. But something that basically I just don't understand how how there's any way that this situation could, in the long term, benefit America more than China. Because like even if all the tariffs were dropped today, you still have our reputation being ruined.
Right. That's the main thing that people keep looking past. Like the idea that anyone can trust the United States as a good faith partner that they could depend on is out the fucking window. Like how can you make a deal with the US and trust that they are going to fucking just throw the terms out the window whenever Donald Trump wants?
Exactly. Or even if you made a deal with Obama, you make a deal with somebody who is a good faith actor. Well, that's not trying to say whatever. We all know why to criticize Obama. But even if the administration is coherent and acting in good faith, that could all change in a few years.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what happens. I think it's gonna get worse. Obviously, I think the stock market is just looking for anything to fucking hang its hat on to not fucking completely tank. I think Trump will once again do something, or just like the economy will start feeling the effects due to the various trade agreements that have been blown up. Like, no matter what deal Trump makes with various different countries, the fact that he's still fighting with China, who is like what, our second largest trade partner, I think, maybe third, very big one though. I mean, so many products come from China that are sold in the U.S. I mean, the idea that anyone would dispute this, that this isn't gonna still, like, to me, I think China's the biggest one. The fact that he still has 125% tariff on China, and everyone's acting like that's not like the main deal. Like, to me, that's the biggest, that's the most effective tariff of them all in terms of how it's going to affect mainstream America.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just primed to not take China seriously because of how much anti-China propaganda there is out there. Even in just Reuters, just anything, it's always this negative perspective, and so people don't think of them. I feel like they should be seen as a good faith partner of the U.S. We betrayed them. They're not.
We are China and the United States are intrinsically linked. our success depends on their success, and their success depends on our success. It is
Yeah.
simply impossible for either to China's growing, the U.S. is prosperous. It's impossible for that to happen for the people who matter, obviously. But I'm being obviously the people who matter. But
Yeah,
like
like my friend.
that's a winning combo for both countries' governments. Now China can hold out a lot longer because, like I said, China is you know they're able to reach out to other countries and say, "Hey, see what's going on here with the U.S. We'll become trade partners. We'll do this," and that's already what we're seeing with Europe.
Okay, yeah, that was basically what I was going to ask you is what you thought about like Trump is trying to punish them the most, but like that could just cause a surplus in the available goods they have to export, and then not only because they seem more rational as trading partners on the world stage, but then plus like Chinese goods might be cheaper for everyone outside of the U.S. So Trump might literally just be indirectly encouraging every other country in the world to deepen trade ties with China
That's
by
undoubtedly what's going to happen. Like, listen, like, are there going to be countries that obviously want to fix what's going on here with the U.S. and work with Trump to secure some sort of trade agreement? Absolutely, because they view the U.S. as the current major trade partner. There's a lot of money and business that flows back and forth through U.S. to these countries, to their country. At the same time, they are no doubt considering the future and the near term future and thinking, all right, we're making this deal with the US to cover our asses now, but we need to look towards the future and how the US is very well may not always be our biggest trade partner or the country that the world revolves around.
yeah,
And they're gonna go
and
to
we're all stuck
China.
here.
They're going to go to China. And China will be able to provide them with whatever they're losing with the U.S. in the near future.
Yeah, I know. I definitely. It's good to hear your thoughts on that because yeah, I came to that conclusion today and I was like, what am I missing? Like
Yeah.
it's just it I just wondered if there was something more devious that Trump was doing that I didn't see.
No, he just views. I think anyone looking beyond this is that Trump truly views that the world, the country, I should say, the United States of America was better when we were manufacturing items here in like the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
This is when he was young. This was his memories of probably having a very good life. And he thinks the reason things are not like that anymore for people and why the US is not great anymore isn't because of all the actual real issues. It's because, oh, we don't manufacture things here anymore. Stuff was good when we manufactured here. We no longer manufacture most things here. Stuff bad. And he thinks that's the correlation. He doesn't view it as there are a number of different things happening. And that's what led to companies going overseas because U.S. workers became more, the U.S. became more of a knowledge-based and service economy.
Yeah.
People,
I'm doing a service job right now.
right. And so people come to the U.S. because they want to work in an office job or, they have a specific talent or skill required by U.S. companies. They don't come here to have goods manufactured as cheaply as possible.
Yeah.
That's just that the world has changed. And the reason things aren't as successful as they were for most Americans, like they were back when the American dream was achievable, isn't because of those manufacturing jobs left. It's because these companies became greedy and the tax rates fell for them and the wages didn't rise with the productivity that rose with this new knowledge based economy.
Yep.
And he doesn't view those things as having any meaning. Like if all the manufacturing jobs were like manufacturing still exists in the U.S. Like I hate that they talk about it like it doesn't exist. It's just not what it once was, and the U.S. isn't known to be like the manufacturing capital. Manufacturing jobs today are not good jobs. I'm not demeaning the workers. I think they are hard workers and they do good, respectful work that should be paid a lot more than it is. What I'm saying is that the companies that run these manufacturing jobs, due to another major factor here of why the middle class isn't so successful anymore in terms of reaching the American dream because things got more expensive, unions. The
Yep.
power of the union in this country has fallen dramatically since its peaks, which, quite frankly, funny enough, tracks with union being most successful when Donald Trump probably views this country as being most successful.
But he doesn't want to think about that.
Right.
Well,
And
you
if
also reminded me of.
manufacturing jobs
Go ahead.
if manufacturing jobs were to return like how it once was, it would not be the world where people went to the factory and made enough money that the wife could stay at home and the kids would all go to school and dad would be there to, oh, daddy's home from work, and they'd all go to their own room like the Brady Bunch. All 6 kids have their own fucking room, a 6-bedroom apartment, a house. I keep saying apartment for some reason. 6-bedroom house that they own with a garage and a yard and the dog running, playing frisbee. Like, that's not what would happen. You would have these jobs return and they'd be minimum wage jobs for grueling work. This country would undoubtedly kowtow to these manufacturing companies even more and remove whatever safety laws and regulations that exist for the ones that are here, and people would be losing their limbs at higher rates and all sorts of horrible things, and you'd have these people essentially living off of welfare along with working at these jobs that don't pay them a living wage.
Yeah. Because they don't. You reminded me of a concept I learned on Sam Cedars' show, the velocity of money. They don't care about things like that. The idea that how many times an individual dollar in the economy changes hands in a given year. The more times it changes hands, the more money everybody makes on paper. And the easiest way to cause that to increase is higher wages for the working class. But yeah, they don't.
I mean, these guys love to romanticize this idea of working in a factory and working in manufacturing in this way, and how like that's what made Americans soft or whatever, and that's what like this is what the males, young American men yearn for the factories, they yearn for the mines, they yearn to do these things because look how beta they are without these things. Men are meant to build with their hands. And like, listen, if you enjoy doing that stuff, sure, I do it. I'm not telling you can't do it. But the idea that this was the world that was meant for future America is absurd. Because growing up, all you heard from people whose grandfathers or fathers worked these grueling factory jobs was one of the reasons why education became such a priority in this country is because the people who actually worked these jobs said, I do not want my kids to work these fucking jobs. I do not want my kids to be missing a limb like I am, or have their knees shot and need a knee replacement at like 40 or 50 or whatever because of the grueling work I've been doing at these factories, just standing on my feet 12 hours a day, fucking no minimal breaks. Like the reason America is what it is today is because previous generations said there must be better for my children.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Like,
best friend of mine growing up, his dad died in his late 50s due to long-term complications from a terrible back injury he sustained at one of the GM plants.
yeah. Yeah, like the and listen, if these jobs paid so much, obviously there would be people lining up for them. But if you can, and the funny thing is, I was just reading today that fucking under Trump's first term, Gary Cohen, who was, I think, is like an economic advisor or something, he was part of the administration in the first term. He and Trump would have arguments over this, and he would try to explain this to Trump by telling him, look at it this way. If you can work in an air-conditioned office, sitting down inside, or you can do work on your feet for 8 to 12 hours and get paid the same rate, Americans are going to go for the office job. It just makes sense. And according to this book, the excerpt from the book I was reading, Trump could not understand this. It's just, and it's not like he was a fucking factory worker or some shit. The dude was a fucking real estate mogul who started with under his father, got money from his father. Like, this is absurd that this is a guy who he's never worked a fucking day of manual labor in his life.
Yeah, that is wild. Because I try not to. Sometimes I feel like liberals are they lean too much on the idea that Trump is dumb, and I'm like, well, don't underestimate him. But that is truly stupid. You don't even have the imagination to think about. Well, there's one more thing I want to add to underline your point, and I should get going because I got a vacuum. But literally, what was it? 2025. 10 years ago, I was working at a mental hospital. I had my own office. I wasn't a social worker, but I had a unique position that was like kind of social work adjacent, like above a floor worker's job. Like, I did really important work. I helped save people's lives, and I was barely getting paid enough to get by. And part of the reason I'm a janitor now is because funding for those kind of programs, like literally the funding from the community mental health center in my county, was hugely slashed under Trump's first term. And even then, even before it got slashed, the funding for those kinds of services in Canada, I remember looking this up, like they got paid double what basically my job, peer support specialist, got paid double in Canada what it got paid here, and had way more benefits. Like, so it's not just like it's it's literally redistributing wealth in that sense. Like, how much are you willing to fund mental health? Like, I'm a janitor because I couldn't make enough money doing more meaningful work.
Yeah,
I make more now as a janitor.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, good for you. Get that, get that. Yeah, I mean, but like, yeah, like, what do people? They just have this outdated view of the world and what people want. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for the call. It was a great call. I was not expecting to go nearly 40 more minutes when I said I'll take one more call, but this was completely worth it. I had a great time with this conversation.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, no, it was a pleasure. I've been a huge fan for years. It's great to finally talk to you.
And feel free to call in at any time. Maybe you're at work and bored again, and give me a ring if I'm live.
All right, will do.
Take care. Have a great night.
You too.
All right, folks, it is midnight over here. I'm gonna close the phone lines. Yeah, I gotta. We went an hour and a half, which is really how long I should be going with these shows. I sometimes give you guys too much. Let's go to the super chats. Parker with the super chat. 18 to 29-year-old swayed by the McDonald's stunt. LOL. Oh, right. Imagine. Bay Photo with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Bay Photo. I do believe that Trump believes in tariffs, but no way they're not manipulating markets simultaneously. Trump tweeting by a bunch of SB calls being opened 10 minutes before the 90-day pause, etc. Oh, without a doubt, they're taking advantage of this every which way, but it's also Trump believes in the tariffs. And Bay Photo with another super chat, a membership super chat, member for 21 months. Thank you, Bay Photo. I think his decisions are still being made on a whim because he's a reckless idiot, but never underestimate the rug pull president and his henchmen. Absolutely. Over on Twitch, Jeltsy resubscribed with Prime, subscriber for 2 months. Thank you, Jeltsy. And Mumbles459 resubscribed for 8 months at tier 1, subscriber for 9 months. Thank you so much, Mumbles. I really appreciate it, folks. Once again, patreon.com/MattBinder to support this show. YouTube.com/MattBinder. Twitch.tv/MattBinder. I got to find a new night to do the show just so I can do like a full-blown like regular show with a guest and everything. Wednesday's getting rough because like by the time I get home and have settled in to do the show, it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30 sometimes. So I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But tomorrow, Majority Report, Leftist Mafia, and Pep Talks TV. Thank you for the raid earlier. I just noticed it now. Who should I raid right now? By the way, let's see. Ooh, I didn't know about this. Ethan Klein tries to cancel Sam Cedar. No Comment Chick is streaming this right now. I have no idea what's going on here. I actually want to see this myself. So I'm rating No Comment Chick so we could all watch this thing. What is Ethan? Ethan Klein's going after Sam Cedar now? I missed this. All right, let's find out. I'm rating No Comment Chick now. All right, everyone. See you tomorrow on Majority Report or Leftist Mafia.
In clip chimping Sam